Okay, let's start with this quote. You don't have to raise your voice when your work already echoes.
That really hits the nail on the head for what we're digging into today.
Yeah, this idea of strategic quiet ambition. It feels different, doesn't it?
Mm,
In a world that seems obsessed with being loud, being seen.
totally. It's about impact, but maybe not in the way we usually think about it, not the constant megaphone approach.
Right. And we specifically added that word strategic because quiet ambition alone.
Mm.
Well, what is that exactly? Is it just holding back, maybe being a bit unsure?
Uh-huh. That's the key difference. Strategic implies intention. It means you're purposefully choosing when and how to be visible. It's not passive.
It's calculated.
Yes, calculated in a good way. Driven by the mission, by the goals, not by ego or just, the need to shout.
So it's definitely not about hiding or playing small. It's about letting your results, the actual work, speak for itself.
Building something solid, something sustainable, quietly but very intentionally. So success comes, well, almost inevitably, even without the constant public song and dance.
It's like the echo comes from the substance, not just the initial noise.
Precisely. Quality creates its own resonance.
So for this deep dive, we really want to unpack that, understand this philosophy, its power, and see how it actually works.
And maybe get you thinking. How can you create value, real value, without feeling like you need to be making noise all the time?
Exactly. Because look, it isn't about being invisible. It's about being thoughtful with your visibility
It's that purposeful restraint we talked about. Knowing when to hold back, but also knowing the right moment to step forward strategically.
and doing it with an authentic voice, speaking your truth clearly, honestly, not just saying what you think people want to hear.
Yeah, avoiding that whole performance aspect.
Then there's selective visibility, choosing of those key moments, maybe a launch, a big finding, something that truly reflect your values to actually, shine.
Rather than just seeking attention constantly.
Right. And finally, this idea of process-driven trust, focusing on consistent delivery, on being reliable.
Letting your actions build that reputation over time, instead of just making grand promises you might not keep.
Okay, so let's make this concrete. How does this look in, say, marketing? Usually marketing feels like it's all about volume.
Oh, yeah. The traditional playbook is often be louder, but strategic quiet ambition flips that. It's less megaphone, more magnet.
Magnet, I like that. So who does this well?
Well, Patagonia is a classic example, isn't it? Their commitment to the environment isn't just a slogan they repeat.
No, you see it in their products, their repair initiatives, their activism.
Exactly. Their marketing, if you can even call it that sometimes, is magnetic because it flows directly from who they are. It's built on real action, word of mouth, deep loyalty.
I remember that "don't buy this jacket" ad. So counterintuitive, but it worked because it felt real. It reinforced their core message about consumption.
And that's their practice, right? Storytelling over slogans,
Yeah.
sharing real stories, customers, employees, the challenges. It creates a connection.
hmm And they focus on thought leadership too, educating people about sustainability. It's not just chasing the latest trend.
It's a long game. They build a community around shared values, not just quick wins. That quiet consistency is powerful.
Okay, let's shift to branding. Again, often loud logos, flashy campaigns. How does quiet ambition approach branding?
Think about Apple, especially in its early days. The products themselves did most of the talking.
Simple, sleek, intuitive.
Right. The branding was centered on that innovation, that user experience, not constant advertising noise. Even their ads, when they ran them, were often minimalist.
That clean design whispered excellence, didn't it? It wasn't shouting.
Exactly. The branding itself became a quiet promise. That simple Apple logo suggests quality, sophistication, because the experience consistently delivered on it.
It wasn't just a logo, it was backed by the substance of the product.
Yeah, the design communicated subtly but powerfully, confidence in the product itself.
Let's talk mission and vision statements. So many companies have them, but sometimes they feel performative,
Oh.
like marketing tools.
Oh, definitely. You see these grand statements, but then you look at the actual decisions, the culture, and there's a disconnect.
So how does the quiet ambition approach differ?
It treats the mission and vision as operating principles. They're embedded in how things are actually done day to day, not just words on a wall or a website.
So it's less about declaration and more about demonstration.
Precisely. The problem with purely performative statements is, well, mission drift happens. Employees feel disconnected. The focus shifts to just looking good externally.
Whereas the quiet approach turns those statements into actual standards, living the vision.
Yeah, letting the market, your customers, describe who you are based on their consistent experiences with you. The tagline becomes a test. Does our action actually match this?
Can you give an example?
Think about Airbnb's Belong Anywhere. It became meaningful because their platform features, their host policies, they worked towards making that feeling real. Or Tesla's mission to accelerate sustainable energy. You see it in their product roadmap, their focus, not just in ads.
So practical steps might be like revisiting the mission internally, regularly asking how decisions align.
Absolutely. Asking how customer interactions reflect it. Using internal stories to reinforce what the company actually stands for. Proof over pronouncements.
Okay, what about sales? Often feels like high pressure, right? Closing the deal.
Yeah, the forceful pitch. Quiet ambition views it more as a relationship, a thoughtful conversation.
Like Salesforce. Their approach feels more consultative.
Exactly. They lead with listening, understanding the client's actual needs, their pain points, before jumping to solutions. The focus shifts to building a long-term partnership, providing real value, not just hitting a quota.
Makes sense. The trust built there probably leads to more sustainable sales anyway.
It often does. It's about mutual benefit, not just a transaction.
And culture. We hear a lot about companies broadcasting their amazing culture.
Right, the culture billboard. But real culture is lived. It's demonstrated quietly every day. It's in the interactions, the decisions.
Zappos comes to mind. Their customer service is their culture.
It's legendary, isn't it? And it feels authentic because it's just part of their DNA. It's not just a department. It's how they operate, top to bottom. Exceptional service is the norm.
They share the real stories too, right? Not just the perfectly curated ones.
Yeah, transparency and consistency. That builds incredible internal and external belief in what they stand for.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about being quiet, but it's strategic quiet ambition. So when do you speak up? It's not about total silence.
Definitely not. It's about strategic visibility, choosing your moments. Think about Basecamp. They build a huge reputation largely on the quality of their product and their way of working.
They weren't constantly promoting themselves aggressively.
No, but they do speak up when they launch something new or when they have valuable insights or research to share that genuinely helps people, or they leverage customer success stories.
So the visibility serves a purpose. It's linked to value or a milestone.
Exactly. It's intentional. It reinforces the core message rather than just creating noise.
So why does this all work? What's the payoff for playing the long game this way?
Well, ultimately, it builds something much more durable. Deep trust, real brand equity, incredibly loyal customers.
Because it feels earned, not bought.
I think so. Look at In-N-Out Burger. Very quiet branding, simple menu, insane customer loyalty. They built powerful equity over decades through consistency and quality, not market saturation.
Or Costco. Their marketing is pretty subtle, but their membership model and consistent value proposition create intense loyalty.
It's about being there where it counts, consistently delivering, rather than just being everywhere all the time. That focus builds sustainable growth.
It really is a different way of thinking about impact in this noisy world.
It shows there's real power, maybe even more power, in strategic quietness.
Okay, so maybe we can boil down some key takeaways, like a mini manifesto for strategic quiet ambition.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, maybe first, the loudest voice isn't always the wisest.
Good one. And growth can be earned without constant hype.
Definitely. How about culture should be lived, not just marketed?
Yes, and sales should feel more like a partnership, not pressure.
Right. And maybe branding should reflect truth, not just theater.
Love it. That really sums it up.
So perhaps the final thought for you, the listener, building on that manifesto, where might you be focusing too much on the noise, on the external validation, instead of building that quiet internal momentum?
What could that unseen momentum unlock for you? Something to really chew on. And we'll end with this quote, which feels like the perfect bookend. Consistency is the quietest form of confidence.